All right, good morning. It's the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Um, I worked on this painting a little bit last night when I got home, and it's not looking too bad. You guys, the view that you guys see, it's really kind of flat and kind of washed out. That's kind of an issue with my camera. It's kind of weird. The image of me that you see is too dark, and the image of my painting is too light. And even though I've got brightness control settings, there's that's about as light as I can make me without setting up a ring light or something, and that's as dark as I can make my painting, which is kind of weird. It might have something to do with me sitting in the window here. But anyways, I hope you guys all had a nice Thanksgiving. Mine was pretty good, pretty uneventful. My 49ers won up in Seattle. So that's always nice. My best friend lives up in Seattle, and Seattle has always been, as long as I've been following football, one of the 49ers' biggest rivals. So it was kind of cool that they kicked Seattle's butt. So I got a pretty good start on this painting of Jack. I'd say the block in is almost complete. I probably spent, like I do, probably spent a little too much time on her eyes. When my reflex when I look at it is it needs a lot more contrast. Even though Jack it's kind of weird. The picture of Jack, like my reflex is like the whole left side is really kind of flat, but there's definitely some volume to it. So we need to create that volume, by darkening the sides, darkening the darks and lightening the lights. I think that left eye is not quite right. I think it's the iris is definitely too big, and I think the whole eye might be too big. But we'll work on that. But like my reflex when I woke up this morning and took a peek at the painting it's just not enough contrast, not enough volume. But that's fine. This is just block in, so that's kind of day 2, or I think of it in these paintings, and step 1 is the sketch. Step 2 is block in. And then step 3 is, kind of detail, refining. And then I know David Gray does, he does a final step, which is glazing. You wait till the painting is totally dry, and then you, and then you kind of glaze, kind of for a little more color, a little more contrast. Not really fixing anything, but just kind of bringing out, the color, bringing out the contrast, maybe some minor corrections. But so right now we're not, I think we're just about finished with block in. I'm probably, and the hair is going to take me a bit, right? I didn't do much with the hair other than just kind of outline it. But today I think today we'll fix what we can see that's wrong, and we'll try to get some more contrast. Maybe block in that hair. Hair's one of those things. It'll take me a while. Hair, even though there's just so much to it, and kind of do it in phases. It'll take me it'll take me kind of a day of work on a little bit here, a little bit there, take a break, take a look at it. But her hair, it's kind of nice. The pattern is pretty simple, so maybe not too long. But hair is usually time consuming for me. All of my paintings too, even though I've called them finished, when I look at them today, I'm always like, boy, I'd like to set that back on the easel and work on the hair a little bit more. But I think it's a good start. I think it's a good start. Why don't we, just to warm up, why don't we see if we can work on that contrast a little bit, and then as I kind of get warmed up, we'll tackle that eye. I think that left eye is definitely a little too big. Certainly the pupil is too big. I think the pupil on the right is about the right size. All right, let's get started. I was going to do something different today to check my color mixing, which was kind of mix my color, put it on a piece of paper, and then hold it up to my reference image and see how close I got it. I was doing kind of something similar on the back of my palette knife, but I wanted to try paper strips today. So let me grab some paper real quick and I'll be right back. All right, for you, there's been no time lapse at all, but I basically went over and I cut me some strips. And so you'll see what I do is I'll mix the color, I'll put a little bit on the paper, and then I'll hold that paper up to my reference image, which is on my iPad to the right over here. And we'll try to do a better job at matching that color. The problem is I don't think it's going to work so well using an iPad. I think it probably works better using an image because my iPad is so backlit. But we'll try it. We'll try it. I'm always trying to find ways to better color match. So I think I think what we're going to work on is this dark side of the face. You know, from the chin, the side of the lip, this line kind of all comes down, down the side of her nose, down the side of her lip. So I'd like to build some contrast there. And then this side of her face doesn't seem dark enough to me. Basically, darken the darks, lighten the lights under her neck. This shoulder is terrible, but I just, you know, that's kind of you hear me talk about it all the time. Can't fix it until you put it on the canvas, right? So that's just my attempt to get something on there and so that we can move it around and correct it. But let's get started. I am going to use my palette knife for this. And then I'm going to start with, I don't think I talked about my colors yesterday. Oh, I probably did. I've added a few colors since we talked yesterday morning. But just to go through my colors again, I've got titanium white, yellow ochre, cad yellow, which is kind of an orange. I don't know why they call it cad yellow, but it's very orangey. Cad red light. This one is quinacridone rose by Graham. This is transparent red oxide. This is just light blue. This is ultramarine, French ultramarine. This is raw umber, and then this is ivory black. And then again, I've got my medium is half just linseed oil, and then half Gamsol. So let's start dark. And then just to color match. You guys can't see my iPad, but I'm going to hold this up to my iPad, and so I think our color is a little redder, so I'm going to get some cad red in there. Cad red light. Little trash can next to me. I don't want to go too much lighter, but let's lighten up with the cad or with the yellow ochre. Oops, I must have grabbed some white. So I just screwed up my whole pile. Just put that over here. Alright. I'll start over. Not sure where I picked up that white at. I think that's close enough to get started. Let's start with that. I didn't purposely set up the Rembrandt lighting with the little, the whole one side of the face is dark with a little triangle of shadow caused by the nose. I didn't set that up on purpose, but it's no surprise that that's the image that I chose to paint just because it just looks so good. In my opinion. Excuse me. Get a little smaller brush to get around that nose there. Use my maul stick. That's probably a little too dark. Let's darken that up a little bit. Whoops. So, let's do raw umber, French ultramarine. Start with that. And let's warm it up with some, let's start with transparent red oxide. There's that shadow around the right side of the nose is what I'm hoping to tackle with this. Excuse me. A little phlegmy this morning. trying to build some volume. Probably not the brush to be doing this bit with. That eye's really bugging me this morning, that left eye, so let's work on that a little bit. Trying to decide what's actually bugging me about it. I know the iris is too big, but when I compare it to the source image, like the sclera, the white of the eye, the proportions look right. So that means that probably the whole eye is too big. I know this white line right here, I don't like the way it comes down. I think it needs to swoop up and match the red part a little better. I think why don't we start with that? Why don't we move that line up a little bit? And then maybe a little contrast around the eyes, like the under the brow ridge here. I think we could darken that up a little bit. Under the eye, we could darken up a little bit. But yeah, let's start with fixing that. I put that white line there that's supposed to be a reflection, but I think that I got too big of a gap there, which makes it look kind of wonky. Let's start with that. That's a job for a small brush. Let's clean up our palette a little bit. Let's see. So for that white, let's get some titanium white. It's a little pink. So let's get some cad red. Probably not that pink. Some more cad red. It's a little saturated, so let's knock it down a little bit with some light blue. Probably a little too cool now. Definitely too cool. So I'm going to add some transparent red oxide into it to warm it back up. All right, let's see what we've done here. I think we should probably fix that iris too. We should probably be fix the iris because it's hard to judge anything else until that's fixed. So I've got kind of a warm mixture It's got that light blue titanium. So the base is titanium white, a little bit of light blue, and a little bit of black. I'm just thinking about the shape of the iris right now. And I think that actually matches the size now. Does it match the roundness? I think so. Darken under the shadow under the eyelid a little bit. Get some warm in there. The other thing too is I think this side has to come up a little bit. This bit is pretty fussy right here. Bear with me. Tackling the eyes always, or retackling the eyes. You know, you do the eye, you take, they take a long time and a lot of fussing. And so revisiting the eyes or wiping them off and starting completely over, for me, is always stressful. Because you kind of feel like you'll screw it up, that what you have is good enough. And that it'd be easier just to leave it alone. But anytime I've ever gone back and fixed an eye, it's always been worth it. Around her eyes, definitely a lot warm. It's not warm, it's pink. We almost need to let's get some of that quinacridone. I think what we should have used besides the quinacridone is alizarin crimson. Let's see if I got any of that anywhere near. Doesn't look good. Oh, we're good for now. We'll go back and get some. I think let's fix that pupil a little bit more. The noise you hear is my dog, Izzy. Oh, she thinks I just called her. I told her to be quiet because we're streaming, but she does not care. Oh, that was probably a mistake. What else? Feels like more contrasty stuff need to do. Alright, I had to go get some alizarin crimson. I'm going to put it right here. brush is way too big, but that's what I got. Let's start with white. Let's try a little bit of alizarin crimson. And then I think some transparent red. More transparent red. Because this side is dark. And it is warm. I got to keep reminding myself why I wanted to paint this. And even though you're not seeing a lot of contrast in the feed, I wanted to paint it because of the contrast. And, of course, Jack's expression, but so again, my pile over here is alizarin crimson, transparent red, oxide, and then titanium white. I'm kind of fussing around, but I'm kind of going darker and darker and darker. Sneaking up on it. Just trying to create that volume. I don't think this is the way you're supposed to do it, but I'm basically trying to mix the color as best as I can, putting it on the painting, and then moving it to where it looks the closest. As opposed to seeing where I want to fix the painting, mixing the exact color, and then dropping it right where where I intended. Someday. Screwing up and fixing things as I go. That's just part of the deal with painting. Every time you lay down a brush stroke with the intent of fixing something, inevitably you also break something. Working on the background a little bit. Just kind of resting my eyes. We've been talking, painting for about an hour. This is something I do to kind of reset. Not looking at the face of the portrait at all. Just kind of building up this black layer. The more black paint you get on there, the darker it's going to be, and that's kind of what's cool about this painting. I can't remember if I did it in Photoshop or Lightroom, but I basically removed the entire background by turning down the exposure. I think at the studio the background was kind of a dark blue. Probably boring for you guys to watch this, but bear with me a little bit while I regroup. I usually do this after I make a mistake and then fix the mistake, and then need to reset a little bit. All right. soften our edges, mainly just so that I can move them around more easily. We've got two pretty nasty brushes, so let's clean those off. By nasty, I mean full of black. I think we did an okay job at fixing the eyes. I might work on that iris a little bit as well on the left side. And I think more contrast. Let's keep building more contrast. So let's continue with this brush. Oh, let's get some hair down, actually. I think for the base for the hair is yellow ochre or white on titanium white and yellow ochre on top. Let's see what we can do down here. Squint, squint, squint. So kind of like the base color is kind of down here. Up top it's kind of black. Let's see if we can get that base color. It's a little darker. So I think there's some raw umber in there. There's some yellow ochre in there. Let's get some medium on our brush to help us cover. Let's just use this for the darker areas. I don't think that's too bad. You know what? I think we're going to use also some fixative. Not fixative, but an alkyd to help this stuff dry. And the alkyd that I use is Galkyd Light. I'm just going to pour some over here on the side. And the reason I'm doing this is I want that hair to dry relatively fast because I want to be able to keep layering and layering and layering. And I don't want to have to wait a day to do it because like I could tell today I'm trying to work on the face and I keep picking up paint underneath it. So this will help us dry. Just a little bit is all you need. think I'm just going to cover the ground as much as possible with this darker color. Just so that when we add the white hair, that it really pops. The white hair really pops. Kind of pulling my pile into that dark tone. I want this to be really dark. Because that's where the biggest contrast in the hair is going to be. Right where it crosses the eye there. I think I want to still build up some more contrast in the face. So that's a layer of hair, or base for the hair. Maybe before we clean our brush too much, we'll darken this area up a little bit. Let's darken that up a little bit more, the side of her face. So, alizarin crimson, transparent red oxide, and white. Kind of blending a little bit, kind of dry brush blending. Building up that contrast. Jacking stuff up as I go. Let's get a little alizarin crimson in that dark. some of our Galkid light in there. I love this portrait. Love it, love it, love it. Jacked up our triangle a little bit. Let's see. Let's make that redder. Just kind of moving paint around. All right. I kind of want to see if we could put some of that yellow hair right here. Super impatient. That'll help us judge our contrast a little bit in that area. I got this kind of long liner brush. Sorry about the light across my palette. making me hot too, so. Let's see, yellow ochre and basically titanium white is what we'll use. I'm going to use my maul stick. Yeah, I don't think I earned that yet. By earn that, I mean, I think we need to get more of a base down before doing it. Some places we earned it. All right. I'm getting hot. How long we've been painting? Let's see here. About an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm getting hot. So I think we're going to take a break. Get some Black Friday chores done. And then I'm going to experiment a little bit on this hair. kind of knocking down the ridges because we're going to paint over it. But yeah, I'm going to experiment on this hair a little bit and see what the best approach is. All right. Well, enjoy your, hopefully you're not working today. Hopefully you're doing lots of Black Friday shopping or out with your family. Wish you the best. I'll see you soon.